There, perfect. And go ahead and change our screen view from the smaller squares. Oh, you just went live.
Beautiful, guys. It is July 22nd, 2024. Wow, I'm only 20 years behind. Sam, good morning. Oh,
Good
boy, do we
morning.
have a lot of news, bro. Like, what the hell?
What news are you talking about? Did something happen yesterday?
It just seems like it's happening by the hour, dude. It's staggering to me.
So are you excited for Kamala Harris as our next president? I assume that's what we're going to talk about, is how excited you are for that.
Kamala. I wonder what her IQ is, dude. Has anybody done an IQ analysis on her? Because I can't understand a word she says, I got to tell you.
I don't either. One of my favorite videos or clips of Trump is saying, Biden talks weird, but so does Kamala. She talks in rhyme or rhythm. And I'm like, it is. It's very weird. It's very weird.
This is our American exceptionalism.
That's right. That's right. So were you expecting Biden to drop out yesterday?
I have been saying that this weekend would be eventful. As I said, he was either going to get sick and die or disappear, or he was going to walk away. Now the question is going to be, okay, now what? Because I think this is just the very beginning of what is going to be one. We will never have another election like this. Our world is going to change massively no matter what happens November the 5th.
Yeah.
If this crazy, low IQ, low ethics, immoral human being ends up being president of the United States, like you start looking at this going, Jesus Christ, man, these people are crazy. Okay. Like if you're an outsider looking at America, you must be nodding your head going, what happened to this great country? Like, we should be asking that. What happened? Because you don't get this messy unless there have been years of us being total dilettante, dude, not paying attention. We have not been paying attention, and now we're paying for it. So, and I think all of us are guilty. Okay, we're all here because we got quiet.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think is going to happen next? So Kamala is now the nominee. Biden is no longer the nominee, which is weird because he's still president. I don't know if that means he's going to finish the term or if they're going to push him out prematurely. I don't know who our vice president pick's going to be. And Obama also, by the way, has not endorsed Kamala. So there could still be some rivalries at the DNC. So what are you thinking?
I think that Hillary Clinton or Michelle Obama is going to end up being the running mate. They will destroy Kamala or cut a deal with her and make her a judge, which would, to me, I'd rather her run for president or vice president than the judge. She's dangerous as a judge, dude. We do not want her as a judge.
She would be there for 40 plus years. She's young.
Yeah. Yeah. And we don't need evil. We don't need, I don't know this lady, but it's okay I can put her in the evil category. I'm being critical. I'm being judgmental. I have no proof, but I'm going to bet with my instincts is something wrong with this lady. So I think there's something wrong with both parties. The two-party system is designed to polarize us. It doesn't work. It would be like having a board of General Electric, Amazon, Facebook, Netflix, Google, Yahoo, and Xspace with two board members. And they get to make all the decisions. Come on, dude. And by the way, these two board members abhor each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is not even about votes or share price. It's literally about what they can do to harm the other person. So we're in a moment of high dysfunction, massive dysfunction. And it's systemic dysfunction. This either gets confronted or it gets worse. And I think we're at this point where we have to now confront this. We just need to go ahead and own up. This is going to be painful 4 years. It's not going to be a painful 4 months, dude. It's going to be a painful 4 years, no matter what happens. because, quite frankly, the agendas for this country are no longer aligned with the 200 or 300 million people that live here. It's literally, I think, being managed by 12 people for the sake of those 12 people and their families. And it pisses me off. Okay. Like, it's just not okay anymore. It's so bad. Like, 8 days ago, somebody tried to assassinate, the leading guy running for the president of the United States and a prior president.
The head of the Secret Service is actually being questioned live as we speak.
She's getting ripped to pieces, dude. Okay, she looks more. See, this is like, really, is this the team? Is this their team, dude? This would be like, the worst baseball team in the history of mankind, and we continue to vote on it. Like, I don't see anybody really supporting any of these people. They're not going to. There's no metrics here. Like, literally, they're getting paid to destroy this country. So this cannot be just sheer incompetence. I don't think I've ever met anybody this incompetent, dude. This has to be motivated by some other very distorted agenda that has nothing to do with my children or your children or the future of this country.
That's always the number one question. Is it incompetence or is it on purpose? And I never know which is scarier, to be honest. It's horrifying to think if this is incompetence, that's how stupid these people are. To me, that's horrifying. I think I'd almost be more comfortable if there was a plan. But I do think there was a plan. It's too obvious. And I think from the little bit that I saw of Congress grilling this head, I got to look up what her name is. But she's dodging a lot of questions and just not giving answers. Cheadle.
The Cheadle lady?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know what, the guy that was supposed to protect, I made a comment on Saturday in a space when the assassination attempt was failed. And the comment was, hey, listen, you betrayed your president the moment you allowed an event to happen. Okay. Like, when you're working at this level, if I was working for Mr. Trump and my job was to protect him, the first thing I do is fall on my sword and I retire. I have failed him. Therefore, I have betrayed him, dude. Okay. Like, in war, there is no, hey, gosh, the guy didn't do his job. No, it's a fucking failure. It's a betrayal, dude. Okay. Like, you let in an enemy. That's betrayal. In war, that's betrayal, dude. Like, the lady, I don't give a fuck what sex she is. She did not do her job. And she made us look bad, and she risked a great hero of America if she didn't actually contribute to this. So as far as I'm concerned, the entire Secret Service is in betrayal. Until they admit what actually happened, they're all treasonous.
Have you seen that 3D image of Trump, how it showed like how his head turned and how the bullet went? That to me is just crazy, because you can kind of understand it from just looking at it live. But when I saw that 3D image, I was like, wow, it came that close.
Well, bro, you explain to me how that bullet even went into his right ear from that location. That bullet should have entered this part of his head. If he was shooting from that right here, this is the left side of my face, not the right ear. Okay. His right ear got clipped right here. Okay. Bang. I moved here. That shooter was coming from here, dude. Remember, he was pointing to the right.
Yeah.
So I think that shot came from the water tower, bro. You start looking at these angles, you're like, well, he turned his head literally like this, man. That bullet didn't come from here, cutting across him. Anyway, look, somebody tried to assassinate the president of the United States, and it wasn't a little kid. And no chance, dude. No chance.
Do you think it's a coincidence that the assassination attempt failed and now a week later Biden's stepping down? Do you think that's all at all related?
Oh, well, of course it is. Of course it is, man. I mean, he failed it. When you can't even execute an assassination with 2 or 3 shooters, there are clearly 2 shooters. Are you there yet? Do you understand there were absolutely 2 shooters, dude? The acoustics will prove there were at least 2 shooters. And I think there were 9 rounds, not 6. There were not 9 rounds. I've heard all 9 rounds. I think there were 3 guns at least involved. And like why we don't have any of the information on the ballistics yet, I find amazing. We know what gun Crooks used, supposedly. We know what his rounds were. We know what the grain is. They know all this shit now, dude. We will have ballistics, people picking up all these fragments of weapons, of ballistics. So I don't know how you're going to get away with crimes like this in the future, man. You know, it's just all out there. We're not having to wait weeks and months and years anymore.
Why do you think Bitcoin dumped when Biden announced he was dropping out?
I didn't really notice that. I've heard people talk about it, but it didn't stay there. First off,
No.
Look, 11 minutes after the shooting last Saturday, the only market in the world that was open was Bitcoin. Literally 11 minutes after the first shot, Bitcoin moved $2,000. Okay. Now I had a man call me yesterday from the oil and gas business. His son told him my name came up in a conversation, and his son looked at him and said, "How do you know Gary Cardone? You mean Gary Cardone, the digital guy?" And Army looked at him and said, "You know Gary Cardone?" He said, "Oh, I listen to Gary Cardone 3 or 4 times a week. He's the one that got me into Bitcoin. Dad, you should buy Bitcoin." And Army said, "Hey, I've known this guy since I was 26 years old. He's buying Bitcoin." And so he calls me, right? And I talked about this. The 11 minutes after Biden got shot, the volume on Bitcoin was very aggressive. I think people looked at that event and went, wow, if there was ever a reason to have a sovereign coin, if they will shoot someone, they will most certainly take my money. They will most certainly fuck around with cash and money and value and assets and taxes, right? If they'll shoot, they'll do anything, dude. And to me, this was the market responding to, oh, wow, I need more sovereign freedom. I need more ability to control. Look, dude, they wanted to change the history of politics forever. They've done this since I was a child. If you can't figure out the value of Bitcoin after that event, then you're blind and oblivious to what the fuck's happening. Okay. There's 8 billion of 7.6 billion little pawns on this chessboard. And there's probably no more than 300 people pulling the strings. And Bitcoin to me is a way to neutralize these 300 people and give me a position with freedom and value that I can't extract anywhere else. And if I can't extract it, I have to become a prostitute to that system. I have to do somebody a favor and then owe them a favor in the future. And like I'm going to die on this planet, dude, not owing anyone anything and being in a position where no one was ever able to buy me. And I think that's in a world where everyone is prostituting themselves. It's the best I can do. It's like I'm just not going to get what's the word for it? Compromised. And I think we live on a planet of just compromise over and over and over. You asked me earlier what I think is going to happen. I think if I'm the enemy of the United States, which I actually think the enemy is inside the United States, it is not an external unit. But if it were an external unit, I would start attacking us right now. We're at absolutely our weakest. So my prediction is in the next 3 months, we are going to have a major repeating cyber attack like we had 4 days ago that no one's talking about anymore. That was the largest cyber attack in the history of the United States. And we are literally 4 days away from it and nobody's talking about it anymore. And I actually said this shit will happen. It's going to happen again. So we don't have an election. Okay. Look, these people are crazy at this point. I was listening to a scientist this weekend and he said, look, 1% of the population is psychopathic. 3%, 2 to 3% of the population is sociopathic. And another 18 to 20% is just neurotic as shit. So we have 20% of the world's population, 8 billion, it's 160 million people, dude, that are fucked up. Now let's just take the psychopathic, which are, this is the Obamas. This is the Clintons. See, I think Clinton's still in this deal, dude. Like, you cannot make me believe that there was once Clinton, Bill, and Hillary. I think some of the smartest people ever in politics. Smartest ever in politics. Maybe not the nicest, but the fucking smartest. And it is very difficult for me to believe that the Clintons 8 years ago just, propped up this Obama guy and they're going to walk away. You think Obama is smarter than Bill Clinton? Not a chance, dude. You think that Michelle is smarter than Hillary or that Obama is smarter than Hillary? These people have been at this game a long time, dude. We're not over. This drama is going to escalate. We'll have another assassination attempt on the president, if not a completion. Could be an airplane blowing up. I don't know, dude, but I'm quite certain these creatures will pull more triggers. They will do whatever it takes to disrupt the next 4 months so that we don't get to an election, or that we get to an election and we end up with a Michelle Obama, or we end up with a Hillary Clinton, or more of the insane same that we've gotten for the last 8 years or so.
I was watching a video of Vivek, because Vivek, even during the primary debates, was saying how Joe Biden would not be the nominee. He doesn't even think that Kamala is going to be the nominee.
Correct.
He's still saying we don't know who we're running against. Do you think that's true? You think there's a good chance that Kamala's not going to be the nominee, that she'll get outed at the DNC?
Well, I'm happy with her to be the nominee, okay? Because there's no way America is going to vote for this idiot. I mean, there's just no way, dude. I have more faith in America than that. I don't think that women are going to vote for her. I don't think black people are going to vote for her. I don't think anybody that's ever been in prison is going to vote for her. I most certainly wouldn't vote for her. Dude, I wouldn't vote for her to be the dog catcher. Okay. So look, let's think about it this way. Okay. She has effectively been a part of the Biden insanity. Okay, like, you don't get this kind of insanity unless people are supporting it. Correct. So, dude, I couldn't hang around that much dirt that long. At some point, my ethics are going to go, I got to get the fuck out of here. So if you hang around this shit that long, you become shit. So there's no way. I'll tell you the other thing that I'm most impressed with is the change that I have seen in Donald Trump. A more calculating, a less verbose, a much more secure, confident Trump than I've ever seen, dude. Less look at me, and more, hey, let's us fix this together. I'm seeing a more humble Trump than I've seen before. And the Trump that was defined or described to me 8 years ago, he would have been beating these guys up, making fun of them, pointing his finger. He's not doing that. See, this is not a stupid guy. Okay, he's not a stupid guy, and he's been negotiating his whole life trying to get his position, get his position on the plan. And he's been an outsider to all these businesses. Nobody wanted him there, dude. Like, he's like me, okay? Doesn't talk perfect. Believes what he believes and doesn't back up and holds on to his belief system. Quite frankly, I see those as redeeming factors, characteristics of America. And I just don't. You got people like Megyn Kelly, dude. People forget Megyn Kelly was his arch enemy. And now she's like, dude, did you see the Mark Zuckerberg's video? Okay, Mark Zuckerberg, I think he's done a Trump homo thing on me. The guy's like, whoa, dude, that was impressive. How can you not be impressed by a guy? Okay, like, I think that's cool. So, the Democrats were willing to martyr him. We've done this before, right? We did this with JFK. It didn't work well. Which, this is now like spinning up. I know we're not talking about Bitcoin, but I think like the Bitcoin people ought to be ready for this. I think Trump will release all the information from the last 40 or 50 years. Like, if he doesn't do that, I will be questioning what he's doing, because until we confront that this country has been assassinating great leaders for the last 60 years, dude, we have to say this, okay? We have to come out and just go, look, we've been killing people, dude. Our enforcement authorities have been killing people, redefining, restructuring, and reforming America's trajectory. If we don't do this, we're a lost nation. We are a lost nation, and we will lose everything if we do not confront the truth that we have been living a fairly large lie about liberty, pursuit of happiness, and whatever else is in the Bill of Rights that we have absolutely trashed. Since 9/11, dude, we have trashed our rights as human beings across the entire planet. And I think America's been right at the top of the food chain of being the predator of freedom, open exchange, no censorship, right to vote, the right for my vote to actually mean something, the right for my voice to mean something and be heard by other people without censorship. Anyway, now the cool thing is, all this is good for Bitcoin. Isn't that amazing? All this insanity is still good for Bitcoin. May actually even be better for Bitcoin. Like, if the Democrats get their way, Bitcoin could explode because they're going to fuck everything up. I'm not sure the Republicans are going to fix it, but I'm quite certain that the Democrats and their existing system will fuck it up. Okay, they are on a path to destruction now. Like, all you have to do is just look at the products they have produced this last 4 years. Just go find me some good products, man. Okay, and good products are not, hey, unemployment got crushed. Yeah, unemployment got crushed because 75% of the people you're hiring are going to work for the government, and they're broke and broke in and doing nothing. They actually need less people in the government, not more. Twitter clipped 75% of their people, and the company's still running, and it's running better than it was. The U.S. government needs to change at least half their people out. By half their people out, I mean just get rid of half their people. The entities will run better. Like, so where Bitcoin plays in this role is it's going to be a hedge against all this craziness, man.
What do you think of, I keep hearing rumors about who Trump's going to put in his cabinet. I saw he was even talking to people like Jamie Dimon. Some people are, kind of bitching about some of the people he's even looking at. Do you think that's an issue? I mean, do you think they're just, Do you think they're just crying about it to cry about something?
Well, who should they hire? Should they bring in Max Kaiser to run the Treasury Department? I mean, Max, you know, if he controlled the way he communicates, like maybe that's a good solution. But who the heck is going to become the head of Treasury, dude? It's going to have to be a banker. Now, like, I like the idea of look, you're not going to make the head of a grocery unit go run the Treasury Department, okay? Like, he's going to pick a player. You guys got to decide, do you want smart players or do you want, you know, I don't know what you're expecting. We need business leaders. So it doesn't bother me that, like, I'm going to see Trump next week and
You're going to see Trump this week.
Yeah, this week, excuse me. And, you know, my message to him is I don't need to ask him any questions other than, sir, point me in any direction you want. I will come work for you for the next 4 years. And you want me to run the garbage department for the United States? No problem. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I don't, like, right now, we need to all be offering our help and sacrifice for 2 or 3, 4 years, especially people that don't need this. These are the people that will fix this, okay? The people that don't need it. I don't need a job. Don't really want a job with the U.S. government, but I'd be happy to work for Donald Trump and try to fix some stuff. And I don't really care where you put me. I don't think we need somebody with an education background to go run education. I think you need a business guy, dude.
You just need.
I don't think you need a guy that understands transportation to run the transportation department. You need a business guy. Okay. Hey, what are your metrics? Oh, you have 10,000 people working for you and they're all getting paid what, $30 an hour? Well, what are you doing for $30 an hour? Are you making $30 an hour? Or are you making $2 an hour? Like, if we just spent time on cleaning up our organizations, these companies, these entities would run better, be more effective. Yeah, you need businessmen. You don't need I don't need to be the head. I don't need to be a medical guy I just think there's a lot of things. I don't need expertise on that particular area other than, hey, let's manage everything the same. The United States government doesn't even have the similar metrics. Well, there are no metrics, dude. There's no responsibility there. And that's the problem. Okay. Like, first thing I would do, I would literally flip a coin and get rid of half the people, dude. Tails, heads, whatever. Oops, social security number. See you later. I've gone through this before. This has to happen or nothing changes. You got to get some point. You have to strip this juggernaut down. It's just gotten ridiculously weighted.
It's funny you mentioned transportation because I believe that's what Pete Buttigieg is the head of. And he was neither a business guy nor does he understand transportation. And he's the current head of it.
Yeah, that's right. So that's a myth. Okay. I mean, some of the best people to run these will not have expertise in that division. And they'll just keep asking the same questions over and over. Well, what are the metrics? What are the metrics? And nobody's asking those questions. Okay. What are the metrics? If you're a Bitcoin miner and you're public and you're the biggest miner, but you're not efficient, you get slaughtered in the market. If you're a smaller miner and you're really efficient, the market provides you positive feedback on your share price. So that should be true of any business. And if the U.S. government or any government for that matter is running in a principled way different from those metrics, which is he who is most efficient wins the game, then how could we ever expect our country to run well? Okay, because we literally are not requiring the country to run the same way we would expect our investments or a good company to run. It is so impractical. Okay, it is so ridiculous. And that's why I get back to that. I think all Americans are complicit. We should take responsibility that we have gotten here over the last 60 years of not confronting the truth. And we're now literally on a cycle to repeat the same strategies. Our methods for dealing with problems are literally being repeated over and over and over again, resulting in the exact same end result, which is that is like over and over and over. You're just doing the same thing, dude. It's crazy. Okay. It's not changing anything, and it's not going to change anything until we do something about it. I don't think you do anything about it until you really recognize we have major issues in this country. Okay. Security, safety, truth, transparency, responsibility, accountability. It's no wonder we're in a shit show. You'd never run a business this way, yet we allow the government to run like this all the time. Good news is all the governments are running exactly the same way. Why?
If not worse.
Because they're the same type people, dude. They're the same type people. In fact, they're all in the same freaking club. So I'm going to encourage everybody, open your mouth. Start arguing with your neighbors and your family and your friends, asking one question: how the fuck did we get here? Because this is awful, dude. It's awful. Yeah. It's awful. It's so embarrassing. I mean, I had to disconnect this weekend. It's too much for me. Like, I feel my emotions getting, hey, this is just a lot of data, dude. Like, it's now impacting me negatively at a spiritual level. I think this is like, we got to like fix this, because people are going to get hurt from this. We're going to further polarize. Okay. Watch what happens on this next round now. Like, people are now canceling people. It's getting more aggressive on social media. You can see it. They're digging in. And I understand it. Okay. That's like, I can understand the digging in, because it's getting so radical.
It's getting more serious.
Dude, totally. I mean, because the stakes just keep going up, because there's no boundaries, dude. There are no boundaries. None. I mean, I think and the stakes now are so high, right? Like, this is just like one of those movies, you know, those movies where four guys go to Bangkok, and, you know, they go to a party, and then they do one thing. One guy does one thing, and it goes off 2 degrees. And then you realize, I'm in a shit show, dude. I'm in a shit show now that's so deep that 2 or 3, you know why it happened? Because you didn't say no. When the first one happened, you were like, okay, a little squeaky wheel here, we'll get through it. And then that squeaky wheel becomes a bang of a gun, and somebody's dead, or somebody's overdosed, or somebody got hit in a car, and then shit it just spirals out of control. What do? Double, triple, quadruple down, dude. Because like, the pain of confronting it at that point is like, oh shit, I'm going to jail. And they just keep going. And I remember watching a movie, and the parents had their 8-year-old walk into their house and say, hey, I just killed a kid. I pushed a kid over a bridge in an act of rebellion. At one moment, she's dead now. And you began to see these parents take on the criminal act, because they could not tell anyone, oh my God, my 8-year-old killed a neighbor. So they then took on the crime, started to hide it, and their lives, dude, just became, once you start doing this, you become the problem. And they became animals, these people. They ended up hurting each other, right? And this is what we have. Thousands of people who are doing this in Washington right now, either through money, through favors, decades, dude. People doing favors for each other. Hey, Mitch, Oh, Mitch. Oh, yeah, I can help your son get out of jail, Mitch. No problem. What you going to do for me, pal? Okay, I'm going to call you one day in the future. This is how these deals work, right? Hey, I'm going to call you one day. And the answer is going to be, yes, sir, Mr. Cardone. I'm happy to help you. So, man, we're like, you got me going into politics now. We're almost an hour and all we've talked is politics, hardly any Bitcoin.
Well, if you want to pivot to Bitcoin, by the way, so Josh Bryant, thank you. You gave us $20. It's always
Josh, you're the man, dude.
Thank you, guys.
You're lovely. Thank you.
I know he always shows up. He's a real G. And then we got a question from Lore84 who gave us $5. And her question is, Grant talks about cash flow. BTC doesn't cash flow. How do we justify investing in BTC since it doesn't cash flow?
Okay, so if you have a cash flow producing asset, you're then paying normal distribution fees. You're paying probably, I don't know, 30% corporate ordinary gains. You then take those distributions and buy Bitcoin with them. That's what I do with all my real estate distributions. I buy Bitcoin. So I'm mining fiat with real estate. I've taken my $100. I put it into $400 worth of real estate. I bought $400 worth of real estate for $100. I then make 6 or 7% on that $400. Right, not the 100. I make 6% on the 400, so I'm making $240 or $24 a month. Right, that then goes to buy Bitcoin in those distributions. The other strategy, and look, just because something doesn't pay distributions doesn't make it bad. Okay, all my money has been made from building companies. I wasn't taking money out of them. I sold the company, and then I get, after 10 years of work, I get a big equity play. That equity, private equity's made more billionaires than real estate has made billionaires by many factors. So private equity, building companies and selling them, is the greatest way to become super wealthy. Real estate's been a great way for families to enhance their wealth. I see these two assets as very, very symbiotic to each other, right? Well, I think Bitcoin and real estate is going to replace equities and bonds as a balanced portfolio. And the reason for that is liquidity of Bitcoin is extreme. Also, the duration, no human beings ever bought Bitcoin, held it for 4 years and lost money. So you have a duration of 4 years minimum, probably, if you look at it that way. No cash distribution. You have real estate that's somewhere between a 10 and 20 year. This 10 and 20 year thing that's generating distributions can roll into your Bitcoin acquisitions, which would allow you to not DCA in, but monthly buy Bitcoin. By the way, the volatility of Bitcoin actually puts you in a perfect position and a favorable position to be able to do that, right? So that you're not always buying the top of the market. You're buying this thing that moves which real estate doesn't change price like that because it doesn't have a chart. It's not as liquid. So I could see these two, like for me, this will end up being my portfolio. It'll be private equity, Bitcoin, and real estate. And much different duration risk and much different liquidity exposure. Right?
It sounds like a fundamental question, though, because are they saying if Bitcoin doesn't give you cash flow, don't invest? Because it sounds like they're saying, so how do we justify investing in Bitcoin since it doesn't cash flow? But the premise there is investments need to generate cash flow, which
not
I guess
all
is a faulty.
Not all investments. I mean, let's play a little game here. Let's say that you have $20,000 in distributions a month. Okay, now some of you guys be looking at going, wow, 20 grand a month, that's 240 a year in distributions. Wouldn't that be a great business? Dude, that's the business you should be getting into. Like, you should be thinking about, how do I get 20 grand a month in distributions that nothing I do is going to change this. These distributions are going to show up. It's passive income. It's what Grant calls passive income. So beyond 20,000 a month, how much more income do I need? See, you guys think that all income, I don't want any more income. I mean, how many times have you heard me say, nah, I don't want that money? And now I know you're looking at me like, why? Dude, I don't want to pay more taxes. I don't want any more money. I want investments. I don't need any more cash. What am I going to do with my cash? I'm going to spend it because it's not doing, I immediately should put fiat back to work. You do not want money sitting in your bank account. I hardly have any cash in my bank account. I constantly are moving it into other assets. So after a certain level, why would you want more income? Why would you want more wealth that you have less tax consequences on?
So let's say, for example, I have an extra $2,000 a month. Is that $2,000 a month better if I put it into Bitcoin, or better if I put it into some entity or business that generates cash flow?
Well, what businesses generate cash flow? See, besides real estate, there's very few businesses that just generate yield. Furthermore, you, with your $2,000, can't buy premier real estate. Now, you can go buy $2,000 a month you could give to my brother. You know, he'll let you do that. So, you know, there's some distributions. I'll bet you $100 that Grant investing $1 billion 10 years ago into real estate and me investing $1 billion into Bitcoin, those two trades are massively different. I mean, I can run the math. I should actually run the math on those two trades, but I will rip his face off, dude, with performance. So y'all have made this big thing about income because you've heard real estate people like my brother talk about how important income is. Yet, if you listen to my brother, he hates income. So, like, I don't need any more income. I need more good investments that make a big multiple that aren't tax inefficient, right? Because I want to hold on to my value. I don't want to let it go. So I would be buying at this price point, dude. I'd be buying Bitcoin. Now, remember, when I say put a fund together with a bunch of, 1,000 Bitcoin with a few people and then go hunt real estate, I'm talking about being able to buy real estate for 25 cents on the dollar. I'm not talking about using Bitcoin to go, oh, there's real estate. Yeah, I want to move that into that real estate. No, dude, you're looking for a fucking problem. And until then, you just leave that Bitcoin sitting in that fund, collecting Bitcoin, right? Just growing. And if you can find something that needs to be sold on a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday, dude. See, that's what I want. I think I have the best asset in the world in Bitcoin. It should sit in my wallet until I find something that can 2 to 3x what I think Bitcoin can do, and bring me some other opportunities like amortization, depreciation, and the ability to do 1031 exchanges, which is massively important. If you can compound an 8% yield by borrowing 3x of the money relative to not being able to borrow on Bitcoin and having a normal appreciation of 30, 45%, there's going to be an opportunity where having a predatory vulture fund hunting real estate, discounted high quality real estate. That to me is a really cool scenario to play out. But I don't think you need more income because all you're going to do is spend it, dude. I mean, look, we just had a meeting. Guy clearly had too much income. $366,000 watch. Okay. Like literally, I thought it was $12. Like when I saw it on, I'm like, this is cool, cat, dude. Rich guy wearing a really cheap little cartoon watch. And then it's 366 grand. By the way, I didn't even notice the watch. Like, I think these cost me $12 each. Something stupid. So, yeah. 360. See, that's what people do when they have too much cash, though.
Because they got to stick it somewhere, right?
Well, it's just sitting there. It's just cash is sitting there. And it's, for him, he thinks those watches are going to go up in value too. So yeah, it's just sitting there. So all you're going to do is burn the extra $2,000. Quite frankly, if I had an extra $2,000, I'd be DCing into Bitcoin every month. Wouldn't even think about it. I would literally be asking yourself, by the time you're 30, how many Bitcoin can you own? Come up with a number, whether it's 5 or 10 or 3, bro. You're going to do whatever it takes to get to 5. I mean, my goal is 1,000. I'm still a long way away, but like at least I'm thinking about, okay, how could you orchestrate that? I'm at least putting it out in the universe, right? I'd like to get to 1,000 by the time you're 30. That gives me, 3 years, man. I mean, it's not stupid.
Yeah,
you just got to be focused, right? I mean, there's a program I'm looking at right now where they reportedly have the ability to really be aggressively trading the Bitcoin, where you're adding Bitcoin. You actually are trading in Bitcoin. And if you're successful, you're actually increasing your volume of Bitcoin every year by somewhere between 8 and 14% in Bitcoin terms. Well, think about it. If you had 100 Bitcoin, you're adding 6 to 12 Bitcoin a year. That's interesting. Good. Well, yeah. If you can do it, now you have to hand over your Bitcoin to somebody. You're giving up some control, but you're also bringing in some expertise that a guy like me may not be able to do, in addition to all the other obligations I have. So there's going to be so many opportunities. We're so early. We're just so early. Those guys this morning that were at the house, they said, "Hey, what's your thesis on Bitcoin?" I'm like, 400,000 people put $25 million to work, dude. And it's a $10 trillion. Bitcoin is $10 trillion. Not the other things. Bitcoin alone is worth $10 trillion. $25 million, less than what I have in Bitcoin. Every super wealthy family will own $25 million worth of Bitcoin, dude. I am so sure of that, okay? It makes my head swell. And that's before BlackRock buying 1 penny's worth. That's before Michael Saylor. It doesn't include any of those other people, okay? Just 406,000 seriously wealthy people that can afford airplanes. Guy said today, we can't buy any more airplanes, dude. We're maxed out on it. I can't buy any more shit. I can't even buy any more watches, right? He said it, man. People have their max demand. I think everybody has everything they need except one thing. I think everybody's long everything other than Bitcoin. Bitcoin and time. I'm short Bitcoin and I'm short time. And Bitcoin, me getting long Bitcoin actually helps me cheat time. And if you don't know what that means, you should really think about, hey, what? This guy's not stupid, right? I mean, like I may be a little, I may be dumb, but I ain't stupid. And like to be able to cheat time, dude, is, you see me get on these airplanes. You're like, hey, why did you spend so much money on those planes? I saved 3 hours in the airport. Coming and going, I saved 3 hours. Worth a lot of money to me. And aggro. So you watch what happens to these super rich people, dude. When they figure out Bitcoin, they're going to be like, I don't have enough of this shit. because they're going to think about this in terms of 25 million. That's, if it goes well, I'm worth $1 billion. If it doesn't, 25 million is not really a big deal. It's not the end of the world. I can wait, because they don't have cash flow problems either. And they don't need any more corporate real estate, multi-dwelling real estate, oil companies, pipelines, planes, villas, girlfriends. Their money's usually stuck in a location they don't necessarily like. You start getting too big and you start wanting to think about, hey, can I move money around somewhere so that I'm not so exposed to one location? So it's, it's $67,000, dude. And what we've seen happen, what we saw happen 3 weeks ago when the Germans started dumping 44,000 Bitcoin. Dude, the news keeps getting better and better. The German government dumped 44,000 Bitcoin in a week, and the price went from 63 to 57, and now it's back to 67. Largest stupid dump of Bitcoin in 2024, and all they could do was take $8,000 off the price. That would be like Satoshi. See, everybody's worried about Satoshi coming back with their, dude, we just had a Satoshi event. We know what happens. It takes $8,000 off the price. That's it. There's so much pent-up demand for this shit. It's staggering, dude.
Well, and what did the giant internet outage that shut down ports and airports, what did that do to Bitcoin?
We didn't care.
I know it.
Didn't care, dude. Didn't
crazy.
care. I traded. CrowdStrike's down. I'm like, oh, good for you, dude. Would you watch? We're gonna have another one of these, bro. They're literally telegramming what's getting, and we have 4 months. It's not like this is forever. By the way, I actually think I told my buddy in the oil and gas business yesterday, if Bitcoin hasn't moved into the 90s by the end of November, there's a problem. Something is not correct. So the cool thing about this trade is you don't have to wait very long. This is going to be and by the way, this is one of those times I actually think we're getting close to going, okay, you're this close before you're not going to be able to buy sub $100,000 Bitcoin. Maybe it's 5 months, 6 months, 9 months, but if we don't, like we are, let's see, what is it? It's July 22nd, April, May, June. This month we should get the prior quarter, second quarter's S13s on all the ETF flows. And who bought? Dude, when you see the names, these names are going to be household names. Just a reminder, last time the names we saw was state of Wisconsin for $159 million. Dude, 0.5% of their entire portfolio, 0.5%. That means Wisconsin will never rebalance. Okay, they are never going to sell their Bitcoin. It's going to, if it triples, they're still only at 1.5% of their entire portfolio, assuming their portfolio did nothing while Bitcoin moved. So what's going to happen when we hear state of Texas, state of Oklahoma, and the state of Florida put Bitcoin on their balance sheet? It's not so much that we already know the volume this moved, dude. We know how much volume is going in the ETFs. What we don't know is who. And I guarantee you that when you start to see blue chip names, and we realize this is the other thing that's going to happen, every politician is going to wake up and realize they own Bitcoin through the ETFs, through their passive funds investments, whether it's with Fidelity or BlackRock or TD or Ameritrade. You're going to have some Bitcoin in your allocation by the end of the year. So even the politicians like Elizabeth Warren poo-pooing on this, by the way, hats off to the Winklevoss brothers for giving Deaton $500,000. That really impressed me, Cameron and Tyler. I really look forward to meeting you guys. You probably don't watch this, but if you are, I really look forward to meeting with you in Nashville. And because I think these are the kind of things we do need to be doing, Sam. We do need to be, I mean, I don't like spending money with politicians, but I think right now in this era, we really need to invest in the future, being able to have a seat at the table to help structure the future of America's digital path, because we are either going to be hyper competitive here or we are not. And we can either lead this show or we can sit in the back of the bus and take whatever's given to us. But I think these are one of the moments where America really needs to stand firm and help structure the future of our digital world, because it's an unbelievable opportunity. And you want to lead this. You don't want to be in the back.
Gary, we only got 4 more minutes left. Do you want to go through some of the comments?
Sure, buddy. Yeah. I love going through those. Anything?
Oh, you're getting called. DogePay says this guy's a genius. There you go.
Wow. Well, we know he's a smart guy.
Yeah. With the whole event of CrowdStrike, this is from DogePay. With the whole event of CrowdStrike, the blockchain showed that we didn't need the internet. Well, that's an interesting statement, I thought. How high do you think Bitcoin can go? Mitchell W wants to know, which is interesting because we even had that conversation this morning.
How high can it go? What time period?
They don't say. But I thought it was interesting when you say, how do you measure finite? Have we ever been able to measure finite?
Have you ever been able to manage what?
Measure finite.
No,
right? Like, how do
this is my point, dude. Human beings don't know anything about finite or infinite. Infinite is something they can't understand. So they've never priced anything that's infinite. I mean, they've never priced anything that's finite. Okay. They've only ever priced infinite. So I had a guy in here this morning thinking it's 1.2. He'll be wrong. Everybody's going to be wrong on this one. If it can go to 1.2, it can go to 1.4. If it can go to 1.4, it can go to 2.4. If it can go to 2.4, it can go to 240. You just don't know. It's simply when, like how much time, right? Well, the US dollar will go to zero one day. If the US dollar goes to zero one day and they change it, what does that mean? You have a change of currency, okay? There is an event, a moment in time when they go, well, this dollar is now worth this much. You can't possibly believe that the dollar, I go through this with really smart people, and I'm just always surprised at how solid people can get attached, glued to a construct. First off, no fiat currency on the planet's ever survived forever, right? They all die. Most of them have a lifespan of 100 and some odd years or less. If that happens, what's Bitcoin worth? Right? I mean, I don't know. You're comparing infinite money that's run by someone you don't know. This is another question the oil and gas guy asked me. Hey, Gary, how do you like investing in something made by a guy named Satoshi and you don't know where he is? And I'm like, the same way that I think about investing in the United States, dude. I don't know who's printing all the money. I have no clue who's in charge of it. The rules continue to change. Who the hell's running the US dollar or the sterling or the China? Okay. Oh, we don't know who Satoshi is. You don't know who your treasury guy is either. And you have zero control over them. And by the way, your treasury guy, unlike Satoshi can only come back with 1 million units. Your treasury guy, you don't know, he can come up with 10 trillion units. So the hardest part of Bitcoin is like, this is such a no-brainer because you have to understand how bad the system is you're in to really appreciate Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is actually a put on the current system, and the smart people like myself who are able to get out of, oh, wow, all those contracts that I have with these banks, I've never read any of them. I don't really understand them. And therefore, when somebody in Bitcoin says, hey, you got a self-custody and you got to go do all this, I'm like, I don't have to do it in my other businesses. See, this is the problem. It's inertia. We have been so lazy and irresponsible over our money and our votes and our power and our voice. We've given it to somebody else. So we're going to have 1 million, 2 million, 5 million people like me who say, I'm taking advantage of this opportunity and will only grow, dude. And if it doesn't grow, it just means the guys that were early, we will be the 1%. Like I am most certain that I will remain in 1%, if not into the top 1/10 of 1% by having this position. And that's really my only strategy. That is the strategy everybody should be thinking about. How do I get into a safe zone? How do I get into that club? You bitch about Nancy Pelosi, but like, would you want to be in the club where she gets that data? I want to be in that 1%. Okay. Like I do not want to be in the crowd that's going to be the slave. So
yeah,
to me, and we have 8 years, dude, 4 to 8 years.
Yeah.
This is happening right now. It's literally, you're either going to be actively involved in the next 4 to 8 years, or you're going to be sitting on the sidelines. And I think if you sit on the sidelines for the next 4 to 8 years, you will be on the sidelines for the rest of your life.
Well, Gary, we got to hop off. We got to go on our next call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You want to give your final before we go? What's our goal?
Well, I think personally, I need to go do something nice for somebody today and not talk about it. Now, I don't know about the rest of you peeps, but this has been a good little life hack for me. So, and I would love to hear on the next one, maybe tomorrow, you guys come back and give us some input on those of you that have tried this. You don't have to tell me what you did for them. What was the result of? Like, what was the result of you being nice to somebody and not advertising it? Anyway, that's enough from us and me for sure. Sam, thank you very much for doing this.
Don't forget our Twitter Spaces tonight at 5. We'll see you guys there with Chris Inks. Plenty of Bitcoin talk to come. We'll see you guys then.
See you guys. Ciao. Leave studio first?
Nope.
Or end
just
stream?
end the live, end the stream.
There we
You
go.
got it.